Okay, so to create that animation, we'll start by creating a composition. I have it set at 1920 by 1080 and 60 frames per second, which is typically the frame rate you want for UI animation. Let's double click here to get the background we want. We'll adjust the fill color to be that darker kind of shade there, and then we'll start creating a button shape here, and we'll give that a different color. Yeah, something like that, I guess. We can actually give it a gradient. So we'll just kind of adjust that. I think we can work with that. I hit the V button there to just pull on these handles. Here are the gradient, and I think that looks okay. And then we will center. So I'm going to go to the effects panel, or the alignment panel here, and then center this, and then right click on the layer, transform, center anchor point, just to get that anchor point in the center, because we're going to be adjusting the property values of its scale, and if that anchor point is not centered, it will scale in a weird direction. We want it to scale in the center of that button, so that'll make more sense in a second here. So we'll just hit play, nothing's going on, so let's give it a drop shadow. So just go to the thing, drop shadow. Typically set it to this. It's still a little dark background, but that's okay. Not really gonna see it. You might feel it a little. So now let's hit scale. We're keying the scale value at 100, and then we're keying it at 100 again, and then we'll go down a little bit. Let's zoom in here. Put it up there. All right, that looks okay. Gesture confirmation. That's a button being pressed. All right, it's a little extreme for me, so let's just go. It doesn't need to be that obvious. I mean, it should be obvious, but it just shouldn't be, you know, like a gratuitous use of the property values that we're changing there, right? Okay. So now we have this scaling button, and then I duplicated that layer, and I'm going to delete the keys there, and I'm going to take the pick whip tool there and parent it to the button layer, right? So we have two layers, right? And I have just parented this one to this one. So I'm going to change the color of that, because we're going to make the pulse that you saw at the beginning there. So let's just take down the opacity there. And so like when the button's pressed, that thing will come on there, right? That's gesture confirmation. And that's important because the user needs to have confirmation of their gesture when they press the button, because that will remove the uncertainty. As the user presses the button or interacts with the interface, they need some type of gesture confirmation, right? Because even if the subsequent operation is successful, oops, let's just make sure we get that. They need to know that the machine is registering their input, right? That let's just grab this. So mask expansion, and then this will expand, and then opacity will be 10. I'm going to key the opacity there. Well, let's see. And then I typically like to add some these in there. That's way too fast. Okay, so it's just kind of like massage this. Yeah, it's not too bad. And that's what I know it might be annoying seeing me do this a million times, but it's kind of what you do. You just kind of look at it a million times until you feel right. I think that feels right. Maybe it's a little too fast. It's either scaling too fast or it's going out too fast in transparency. This is. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, looks okay. All right, so that's basically it. I mean, you could stop there. Well, let's get the text in there. Primary button. All right. All right, so now we can stop here because we've accomplished what we want to accomplish, interface and user experience wise, right? We're getting that functionality that we need, but we can take it further now. So let's start getting a little bit weird with it. So I'm going to animate the way this primary button moves. Alright, so it's already parented, so it's going to scale with it. Alright, but let's I'm just going to trim this compares to be zero. Let's make it so that as soon as it's tapped, this thing starts down here and goes up. And let's take out a few frames, because that'll look kind of cool. Alright, it's moving too fast, and then we get this. And I think what I'm going to do is make it so... let's turn that up. Let's go ahead. Oh, I was looking at the wrong layer there. Yeah, something like that. All right, so now let's make it so that, and it's kind of a messy process. Like you just massage the thing until it looks right, right? And that's basically it. I mean, you could go in any way, and like the reason why this looks the way it does is just, you know, we get the functionality in there, the gesture confirmation that I said a million times, and then you start styling it, which would adhere to the brand. So I think let's take out a few frames more. Yeah, I think that looks better. Something like that. That's it. But make sure that you're rooting all your design decisions, especially with the animation, in optimizing or just enhancing the functionality. This is all to support usability, right? So it's not to look fancy. I know it looks kind of stimulating. It looks cool, but it's all rooted in optimizing usability. And in this case, we are giving the user the sense that their input has been registered. So, you know, and what you want to think about now that we're on the subject of just kind of thinking about just like the time-based nature of this whole thing, this gesture confirmation is good, but it should be, I believe, I mean, it will depend on the operation specifically, but you kind of want to keep the press state in the press state until the operation is successful. So in this case now, it's going back to normal. Doesn't really help us in the interaction because yes, we're seeing that it's registering my input, but it's good if it stays, you know, like this at 59% here, because then I know, you know, still it's still not dark enough. I think. Oops. I went to the wrong thing there. All right, there we go. This it should stay like that, right? It should stay like this. Okay, so it should stay in the press state until you go to the next operation, until the operation is successful, because now I am totally certain that it read my input, you know, and that we're just a matter of time before we're gonna go to the next screen, the subsequent screen. So, yeah, gesture confirmation. One more thing we want to do is we'll get that little finger simulator circle that you see. What's going on here? Yeah, there we go. So we'll get that little circle in there to press the button. All right. So let's get a drop shadow on this thing. Let's give it a little color. Actually, I think we'll keep it white because the button is the color, so I don't want too many colors on there. I don't like that. All right, so where's the pulse gonna come from? All right, center there, off center. So we'll move, let's center the anchor point on the circle there. And then let's line that up and then hit scale and hit P for position. We key the position. So there we go here. Give it like, let's see how long. What is that? I accidentally created those. Okay, so let's see how much time we got here. Let's give it a little bit more time. I don't want the finger to show up. You want to let the motion composition sit for like a second before anything happens, just so people can kind of just take in what they're seeing. You don't want the motion to be instant for these motion compositions when you're presenting this kind of stuff. You know, let the people take in the visual design for just a second, and so it just isn't so much sensory overload. And then so like what I'm doing now is just some styling of how this circle is going to show up. It's all preference how you want to do this. Right, so we got that. Let me just key the motion of it. Yeah, see, it's going too fast, but that's basically how it's going to be. So let me just see. It's a little fast, but I think it's okay. Yeah, so it's going to sit there for like a second. See this delay here? It moves from here to here, and then we're going to give it a delay just so it looks like it's stopped. And then we will scale it. And then as it scales, I didn't need to key the position there. I am going to key the opacity, and then the opacity fades, and then hopefully we get that effect. That's not too bad. Just move it just for. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's good. It's all happening a little bit fast, but you know, ideally you want to give it like a second. Maybe I'll just tone down the acceleration here. Yeah, I think that's better. We'll shorten the distance so it doesn't look like it's moving so fast. Yeah, that's better. And that's it.